Hi there, and welcome back to the Clutter to Cash Challenge. In our last lesson, we talked about your stuff. Today, we're moving on to your kids' stuff. Even if you don't have kids, you still might get some great information from this video that you can apply to your spouse, your roommate, or even yourself. So be sure and stick around. Do you think kids just naturally attract clutter? It's like from the moment you conceive, you get all this stuff and advertisements for more stuff, and you go and you make a 14-page long baby registry and you think that maybe with all the right stuff I can survive this parenting thing, right? But it doesn't have to be that complicated. I am committed to helping moms figure out what's essential in their life. Not just the physical stuff, I'm talking about all the advice and activities that demand your attention. I want to help you get clear on what matters so you can start living your values-based life and moving toward your goals right now. There's so much more than just the material stuff, but that's the first step in clarifying your whole life. So let's get started with today's challenge. Babies and kids don't really need as much stuff as you think. Maybe you figured that out the day your 7-year-old spent the entire afternoon playing with a stick in the backyard. Or maybe it was when your toddler loved the new box he got for his birthday and completely ignored the toy that came inside of it. Or maybe it was the day you figured out that all that fancy baby gear couldn't soothe your baby as well as nice swaddle and cuddle with mom and dad. Yep. They're pretty happy with the bare necessities. That is, as long as you don't ask them to get rid of anything. Am I right? Ask your kids to clean out their room and suddenly every little scrap of paper, every puffball from every craft, every single Lego is like a treasure worth more than gold.
My precious.
If you really want to get rid of your kids' clutter, you've got to get them on board. My kids have really generous grandparents, so they've always had a lot of toys, which is a wonderful thing on the one hand to know that they're so loved and cared for. But on the other hand, their rooms get bursting full of stuff. We've had to do a couple of cleanouts a year just to keep up with all the gift receiving that we've done. But about a year and a half ago, we did something pretty radical. We had an epic toy cleanout where we got rid of everything that wasn't absolutely essential and bringing them joy. Of course, I didn't want my kids to resent me for the rest of their life for getting rid of all their stuff. You're the worst mother ever. You gave away all my Legos. No, if I wanted to get my kids to get rid of their stuff, I had to get their mindset in the right place first. The first thing I did was to cast a vision for a better life. We took some time to talk about what a perfect play space would look like. We actually looked up rooms on Pinterest too. And I kind of led the conversation with my kids to talk about how many toys were in that space, what would it feel like to live in that room, and where did they keep their stuff? Not surprisingly, the rooms that my kids picked out as being totally awesome weren't crowded full of clutter and toys. Kids are just naturally drawn to simplicity, aren't they? Because it's not just simplicity. It's really about possibility. Have you ever seen what happens when you move into a new house, or maybe you cleaned out a room because you were going to paint it, and so you have a big empty space? Without fail, a kid's going to walk into that room, throw their arms open, and just look around at all the possibility. So as you're trying to get your kids on board with getting rid of things, you have to help them see you are not taking away stuff from them. You are giving them space. Okay, the next thing you'll need to do is determine the criteria for the things you're going to keep. Having a clearly defined set of criteria makes the sorting process so much easier. I like to do this with my kids so they feel involved, even if I have to reword their answers or guide them to the criteria that I think would be best. I might ask questions like, what about broken toys? What should we do with that? Or do you prefer toys that only do one thing or toys that can do a lot of different things? Remember when we went through your closet and we asked ourselves, does this spark joy? That's an awesome set of criteria for ourselves, but it's a little vague for a kid. They really need more concrete terms because after all, joy is kind of the hallmark characteristic of childhood. Everything sparks joy. So as a family, you'll need to decide what's best for your child's toy wardrobe. Yeah. Wardrobe. I like to think of their toys as a set of things that work together in different uses, kind of like the clothes in my closet. Just like I know that a good pair of black slacks is an essential piece to any wardrobe, a good set of building blocks could be an essential piece to any toy wardrobe. Both those things mix and match well and play well with a lot of other items. I really encourage you as a family to decide the criteria that works best for you. But for our family, these were some of the rules we decided. Number 1, no broken toys. If they're broken, they need to go. The second rule was No easily broken toys. So we had this one Barbie bike that was constantly breaking or needing to be hooked back together. If my kid's gonna break it every time they play with it, then it's not gonna bring them joy. Number 3, no duplicates. How many toy phones does a kid need? And why do they have so many toy phones to begin with? Number 4, less plastic, more wood. It wasn't a hard and fast rule that my kids had to have only wooden toys, but there's something that I really like about wooden toys. They just sort of connect us with the earth or something like that. I can't really explain the psychology of it, but I know that it somehow sparks the creativity. So if we have the option to choose between, let's say, a plastic cash register or a wooden cash register, let's get rid of the plastic one and keep the wooden one. There's just something about it that we prefer. And number 5, no unitaskers. So fans of the TV show Good Eats know what I'm talking about when I say unitaskers. Alton Brown is super strict about every tool in his kitchen being able to do more than one thing. And I really think that my kids' toys should do the same thing. They should all be able to do more than one thing. That's something that I like to call play value. How much value does a toy have as far as what it can be used for to play? Can it be a lot of different things, like the building blocks, or can it only do one thing? Oh, and one last rule, you have to actually like the toy. Even if a toy fit all the criteria that we had established, if the kids didn't like it, I'm not gonna make them keep it. All right, once you've cast your vision and determined your set of criteria, it's time to get all the toys into one space to start the sorting process. Just like with your closet, you need to bring everything out. This is essential. Remember how we talked about creating space? When all the toys and books and stuffed animals are out of your child's room, they'll be able to see the open space that they could actually have. Now we're only going to put back in the toys that fit all the criteria and bring you joy. This is the same concept we saw in cleaning out your closet, where instead of subtracting things, we are actually adding in the things that we like. Instead of getting rid of stuff, we're gathering together the things that bring you joy. It's really important for kids because sometimes they have a hard time parting with things that belong to them. I mean, we all do, right? But especially for kids though, letting go of things can be a really difficult process. If you are having any trouble with that, reach out to me in our Facebook group and let me know, and I'll see if I can walk you through some better ideas for helping your kids release the things that don't bring them joy. But when you look at it this way as collecting the things that they love, they're usually a little bit more likely to get on board with it. Now, the next thing you need to consider is how you're going to store and display those toys. I love to have my kids' toys on display so that when they go to their room, it's all laid out in front of them, just like a toy store, and they're inspired to go and grab things off the shelf and play with them. It also means they're able to put those things away on the shelf really easily. And that's really important because I really want my kids to be able to clean up their own rooms and take care of their own stuff. So in our room, this looks like one big tall shelf that's of course anchored to the wall for safety. And that's where they display all their toys. They can easily access them and easily put them away. Now, this is also important because it means we can only keep as much as fits on that shelf. So there's a built-in limit to the number of toys they can have. After you and your kids have gone through all their stuff and created your beautiful toy wardrobe, snap a picture for me and share it in our Facebook group because I can't wait to see what it is you've come up with. All right, it's time to move beyond the toys and onto the clothing. Kids' clothes are actually a little bit easier to sort through than your own because it seems more about size than preference in this case. They grow so fast that it's practically necessary to clean out their clothes at least twice a year, right? I find it's much easier to go through the kids' clothes without them being around, but I do like to have them nearby in case I need to hold something up or see if it fits anymore. But I don't like them all in the room because in this stage, getting rid of your clothes is so much more about size than it is preference. If you've ever had to get rid of your favorite pants because you outgrew them, then you know how hard it can be for your kids to let go of some of their favorite clothes. Sometimes even after you've discarded all the stuff that they've outgrown, you still have too many clothes for your kids. Now you just need to consider the different uses that they need. Where will they be going? What kind of activities do they participate in? And do you have just the essentials for what you need to cover those uses? And of course, you can have a little bit fun with it too. Dressing our kids is one of the great joys of life, right? Pick out your favorites, decide whether you want your kids to be able to mix and match or whether you want to store their clothes together in outfits so that they can easily pick out things that go together. This is up to you, but I do think it's important for kids to be able to dress themselves. It's just one of those life skills I like to encourage. So I like to make it as easy as possible for them to be able to do that in a way that still fits with my expectations for what they should be wearing. Go ahead and bag up anything you're ready to sell and take it to your storage area. If you have little ones that you need to store hand-me-downs for, we found that these big plastic tubs are really fantastic. They don't degrade with temperature changes like garbage bags would, and they don't let bugs in like cardboard does. In our old house, we had a infestation of brown recluse spiders, and they love cardboard. True story. So I don't ever like to put my kids' clothes in cardboard. Of course, that only applies if you're going to be keeping their hand-me-down clothes in an attic or unfinished basement or storage facility where bugs could actually get into them. And I label the hand-me-downs with a big full sheet of typing paper, 8.5 by 11, and I'll put on there the size and the season. So it'll say like size 7 winter clothes. That way, whenever I need to access clothes for a certain season or size for that kid, I know exactly which bucket to grab. I don't have to sort through anything. For clothes that are the right size but the wrong season, I have a little box or basket up in the top of their closet. That keeps my preschooler from wearing a sundress in December, but it also ensures that I've got some long pants or jackets that in case there's an unexpected cold snap in May or something like that. If this all seems like a lot to do and you're not sure that you've got time to do it, you may want to check out my other video, The Secret Strategies for Adding Up to 7 Hours in Your Week. After today's challenge, your storage area is going to be bursting with stuff to get rid of. You may have to start parking on the driveway just to keep it all in the garage. But don't worry, it's just temporary. We're going to get to the big sell-off pretty soon. In the next video, we're going to go through your whole house, your kitchens, your knickknacks, your paper clutter, the garage. It's about to get real. You won't believe how much clearer your head will be and how much easier it is to clean your house when you get rid of all the excess stuff. And I'll teach you the phrase that'll keep your home clutter-free for life. All right, before you start daydreaming with your kids about their perfect play space, you may want to take a minute to get a friend on board with this decluttering process. It's always more fun to go through a challenge like this with support, and an extra pair of hands will be a tremendous help to you on the actual sale day. The link to share the challenge will be down below this lesson, but just in case you need to know it, it's clutter.gathering-joy.com. Okay, time to get rid of some obnoxious toys. Remember, if you have any trouble along the way, reach out to me in our Facebook group. Till next time, I'm Christina from Gathering Joy, helping you cut through the chaos and get to the heart of what matters.